Hello, homeschool friends, and welcome to this episode of the Homeschool High School Podcast from Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and brought to you by the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. I'm Sabrina, and I'm talking today with
Vicki.
And we're going to be very dramatic in today's podcast.
Yes.
Because drama has a place in life, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Not the kind of drama that most of us experience far too much of in our lives. Like we had a little bit of digital drama trying to get the podcast started this morning.
Because I'm a digital immigrant, so it gets quite dramatic trying to hit the right buttons. So
I was digital immigrant, friends, not digital idiot. I just want to clarify in case anyone thinks that Vicki's being ridiculously hard on herself. But yeah, we got too much drama in our lives when it comes to the save the drama for your mama kind of stuff. But the good kind of drama, well, that's entirely different. And there is a good kind of drama, and there's a lot of value in introducing our teens to the good kind of drama.
Yeah. I know for my youngest three, they came along about the time you started your drama camps, and those experiences were so formative for them, and not just learning how to be an actor and read a script and understand what a play does, but actually in their trying on hats and personalities and confidence and more than I can put words on.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, a lot of us have never, I say us, and of course I'm not talking about myself because I'm the drama queen and drama geek and all that stuff, but a lot of people, because they are not interested in the performing arts, they never dabble in drama. But there's actually a huge amount of personal exploration, self-awareness, finding of strengths that you didn't realize you had, and such that come from essentially pretending to be something that you're not. And it's interesting because we so affirm the value of pretend play, imagination play in children. We love when our 3-year-olds start really, really pretending. And we see them, being a doctor, and I have a granddaughter now. Wow, it's been a while. But I have a granddaughter who loves to use her doctor kit, and she loves to check my blood pressure. And she always tells me that it's 69. That's good. So I never thought that 69 was a good blood pressure. So we love it when the little ones try on different hats. But I think we think that stops once we get to about middle school, something like that, but then it's kind of silly if you're still playing pretend games. But no, there's a lot of power in it. And that's why I started doing drama camps with kids, because they're not, a drama camp is not the same thing as a community theater production of, a published play. And I did some of that too. I directed, we had a wonderful production of Our Town that youngest was in, and he was so adorable in his bow tie. But drama camp is different. It's different.
And that's a good point. Is drama camp isn't about developing young professionals. It's it's a drama camp experience is what it is.
Right. So part of it starts with the fact that it's not auditioned. And even a lot of co-op productions or whatever within a homeschool community, you still would have pretty traditional auditions. And in drama camp, it was a matter of matching up people to parts that seemed to be a good fit for them, because we had a very quick turnaround time. So I guess I should give the basic framework of what do I mean when I say a drama camp.
Yes.
How about that? Yes, I should start with that. Okay. So for us in our local community, a homeschool drama camp meant that in the summer in the early years, it was 1 week, and then we expanded it to 2 weeks because the kids demanded it.
Yes.
But for this short period of time, 1 or 2 weeks, we would meet Monday through Friday from 8, 9 in the morning, something like that, until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And we would create an original production, and it would we would open the doors for the performances on Friday and Saturday nights. So in the early years, that was just 1 week. That was 5 days of practicing, and they had never seen the script before they showed up on the first day. So it was a very tight turnaround, and we needed to find a good fit where students could be encouraged to bloom, to give themselves permission to lean in to something that was a stretch for them, but not an incredibly painful, you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to have to work your very best and it's going to be, so yeah. So every kid who signs up is going to have a part. There is no place for human scenery, because if you're going to do this, you need to be pretending. That's part of what's wonderful about it, right? So every kid had spoken lines. The kids who said, I don't want to have to speak much, they got a couple of spoken lines, and that was okay, because for them, that was a stretch. That was leaning into something that was difficult and taking some risks, but not scarring them for life.
Right. Yeah.
And then for other kids, wow, they were just, that big presence in the room and very little self-conscious fear and that sort of thing. And so we had big parts. We had people who memorized big, long sections of dialogue and monologues and pushed themselves really hard, but it was an area that they were already fairly strong in. So that was part of it, was to get a bead on the kids.
Yeah.
And then to let the production grow out of who we had in the room. So I guess that's one thing. It was sort of what's the term? Asset-based community development, right?
Oh my goodness.
Asset, there we go. Drama camp was asset-based. We first looked at who we had, and then we developed the production out of that. So the script was always being significantly altered over the course of the week. We were making it fit, making it work.
Which is okay to do. Like, scripts are not, they're living documents.
That's
and they're
right.
adapted to the asset-based community needs. So
and you know what? A great life skill to teach kids that they can tweak the script in life as they go along. It's kind of like what changing your major is about in college, right? You're not just quitting and giving up and running off to live as a nomad in a field somewhere in Nebraska. You're staying in college, but you're saying, yeah, this thing that I clicked on when I was setting up to start my rest of my life here, actually not a great fit for me. Now that I'm here, I'm going to make some adjustments. So yeah, it's a great life skill. Great life skill. So the way we actually structured the week is I would write an original script, which I know that some of you who maybe are listening to this thinking, oh, it would be cool to have a drama camp in our community. And then you're going to hear, oh, I have to be able to write an original script for these kids. Never mind. That's a little more than I'm ready. You don't have to. I just loved to write scripts. So that was just fun for me.
All right. So rabbit trail a minute. Is there any way that people can get hold of any of the scripts that you wrote?
That's such a funny thought. Yeah. Actually, there's a website, sevensistershomeschool.com, that has a category for speech and drama. And there are a couple of full drama camp scripts there already. One is called A Weekend in Calcutta. That is one of my all-time favorites. And one is called The Search for the Solution. Also a lot of fun. In fact, we got one twice, about 10 years apart, with two different groups of kids. And I have a whole file drawer full of others that I haven't quite brought into the, let's make them look pretty and publish them on the website. But if anybody's ever interested, you can shoot me an email, Sabrina@sevensistershomeschool.com. And I will be more than happy to share with you things that might be helpful to your group.
One group that was doing a drama camp wanted to do Little Women and contacted you. And I think you actually have that one on the site too, right?
That's right. I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, I created a custom script for them based on the number of kids that they had and the genders that they had. And we did, instead of trying to do the whole story, we did selected scenes from the book. And we focused on the relationship among the four sisters, and we called it Little Women, the Strength of Sisters. And it was a 1 act, and it was absolutely adorable. And I got to drive, Seven Sister Kim went with me.
Mm.
And we drove several hours into Pennsylvania to the town where this community group was, and we saw their performance. And oh, it was just lovely. It
Yeah,
was
that's
so
cool.
much fun to see another group doing that same kind of thing, you know? Um, yeah, so we would start with the script, and we would have a read through on the first day where we would just sit around in a circle on the floor, because that puts everybody on the same level to begin with, right? You're all just sitting on the floor.
Mm.
Pardon me, allergies.
Mhm.
And we would literally read around the circle. So whatever line came next, if you were next in the circle, you just read it. It didn't matter if you were the right gender for that part or the right age for that part or remotely interested in playing that part. You just read it.
Mhm.
And if you really had a fear of reading aloud in public, you just said pass. And it
Mm.
went on to the next person, because the goal was not to stress anybody out. It was just to listen to the story for the first time.
Mhm.
So we read around the circle, and then everybody thinks about, over lunch, they think about what parts might be interesting to them.
Mm.
And we would, play lots of games and that sort of thing to get to know one another and to try to let people's nervousness die down a bit, first day, whatever. And then after that, we would have very informal auditions, and there would just be something to read from. Everybody would have marked their script. If you're going to
Mhm.
read for the character of whatever, like, okay, so one of the plays that we did is called Shelf Life, and that one's actually up on YouTube. You can find that one if you go to, I guess I don't know if it's on Seven Sisters. I think it's just on my personal Sabrina Justison
Good
YouTube
to put
channel. But
links on the show
yeah,
notes.
we'll put a link in the show notes. There we go. See, you're digitally very savvy.
I
I
get
didn't
these
think
little
of that.
chunks here and
That was
there.
good. That was very good. So we had characters from different famous books. And so it was, okay, well, if you want to read for the character of Mouse from If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, then here's the paragraph that you're going to read. And if you want to read for Francie Nolan from A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, then here's her little thing. And so everybody would know, they would have their script marked up, they could think about it, but there was no like, go home and get prepared for your audition. It was very low key, because we said, we just want to tell a really cool story to our audience.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of the basic framework. As we said, this is about us coming together as a team, linking arms,
Mm-hmm.
supporting one another in an attempt to share a wonderful story with our audience, something that's going to enrich their lives, and they'll be glad they came out to see us. Yeah. And then we would rehearse every day after that. And yeah, simple
One of the
costumes,
things,
no sets,
yeah,
just
simple.
tell the story.
Yeah. One of the things that was so valuable to my kids was that you would wrap days up. I don't know whether you did it every day, but they would say an affirmation, like write an affirmation to their peers.
Yes, every
So,
day. We called it mail. We said you were writing mail, and I would have huge stacks of scrap paper cut into quarters before drama camp would start each year.
mhm.
And we would just recycle old, paper on the backs, and you just wrote little personal notes of encouragement to the other people in the cast. And some days you would only write 2 or 3, and some of the kids every day would write a note to every kid in the cast, because this became like their calling,
Yeah.
and it was very, very much encouraged that you make it specific. So something that you saw that person do that day that you wanted to tell them, I noticed that, and that was really cool. You finally got that one line that had like the tongue twister in it that you've been so frustrated about. You nailed it 3 times in a row today. Good for you. You're awesome. Something specific.
Mhm.
And then I would take all of the mail home with me at night and read through all of it, just to make sure that nobody was, sometimes teenagers make a joke that's not
Yeah.
funny. It's actually a
Right.
little edgy and,
Yeah.
obnoxious, whatever. So, I just make sure. I don't think I've ever had to throw out more than about 2 notes over the course of 15 years of drama camps, and then put them in little envelopes with each kid's name on it. And in the morning when they get there, they go and pick up their envelope. And the first thing they do before we get started for the day is they just read their mail. So they're ending each day by pouring into each other's lives with encouragement, and they're beginning each day getting filled up by the encouragement of their peers.
Mhm.
Sets a really, really nice tone. I think probably a lot of corporate America might be a nicer place if they did the same thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the social skill of looking for the good in others is so powerful, and it's good for the writer of the mail, and it is good for the receiver of the mail. So
Yeah.
that's like that was so important when my kids would talk about drama camp was the mail. And that, that wasn't specifically about the play, but what it did is it gave kids confidence that they
Yes.
could do things, which did help the play. So
Yes.
there wasn't ever anything that was wasted or lost, and that it was just so good. And I know the days, like hours, y'all would spend what, 8 hours a day
Nine
here
to nine to
together.
four. Yeah, 9 to 4.
Yeah. And so they brought their lunches, and then on dress rehearsal days, y'all would have pizza for them, I think. I mean, it was
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
long.
On the last day, oh my goodness, yeah. On the Friday when we were going to have our first performance, they would come at 9 a.m.
Mm.
and they would bring their lunches, but they would also bring a pillow and a little throw blanket, some kind of little cozy thing, because we would have nap time. Yeah. So we'd get to about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we would call it after that was the last full rehearsal. And then we would put kids all over the building in little spots where they could stretch out on the floor or on a couch or on a couple of chairs or whatever. And even if they didn't want to, it's amazing how many of them fell asleep because it's a really tiring week. But even for the ones who didn't fall asleep, you just are someplace quiet and still. You're not talking to anybody. You're resting because you need that. And even that, it sounds so silly, but I have had kids come back to me 10 years later and say, what I learned from drama camp is that it's important to take a nap sometimes.
Yes.
And you know what? That's a good life skill.
Yeah, to stop and be quiet for a few minutes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And another life skill that they got from it, not kidding, was to reapply.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So yeah, most years that we had drama camp, it was in a church that had converted warehouse space. So technically speaking, we had working HVAC system, but metal warehouse in August in the part of the country that we were in, that air conditioner was doing all it could to keep up with all those bodies. But, we were singing and dancing and climbing stuff and whatever else. So it was a lot of activity. And a room full of teenagers, after a couple of hours of that, it starts to get very pungent. Yes, pungent. Yeah. And some teens and tweens are more aware of personal hygiene issues than others. That's part of the developmental process that happens at different points in time for different kids. So some of them would not be aware that it was getting a little stinky in there. So we just decided we're going to normalize it. And oh my goodness, Seven Sister Kim was my assistant director for many years. And she and I came up with a strategy, and we just bought little travel size deodorants, and we labeled them with the kids' names, and we kept them in a big basket. And about 2-3 hours into the morning, after it was starting to get close to where we're going to have trouble, we just take the basket up to the front of the room, stop the rehearsal, and say, reapply. And everybody came and got their little labeled deodorant, reapplied a little deodorant, made the afternoon rehearsals so much better. But part of what was so neat is I think it really helped some of our kids who were very bothered by the kids who were a little less mature, a little bit less aware, maybe, of some of those issues, where they were tempted to just want to avoid them, to just be offended or insulted or prideful, looking down, whatever. But instead, it kind of put everybody again on a level playing field and said, it's okay. You know what? People sweat, and sometimes sweat stinks. And we can all just remind each other that we've got to stand close to each other. So let's try not to make that any more unpleasant than it has to be, right? Dumb little things that actually make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. And then sometimes at the end, I know, at least with my number 4 kid, he had appendicitis right before the production. And you would occasionally give an award to kids. So I will never forget this, because he was really sick with the
Oh,
appendicitis.
he
Like he was really
was.
sick. And
Oh,
so he got the award for the cast member with the fewest body parts. And
yes.
that just stuck in
I'd
my brain.
forgotten that.
Yeah. But it turned a hard thing for him into something to laugh about. And and it warmed a mom's heart. So
Oh my
that has
goodness.
stuck with me all those years.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of what is great about drama camp is letting the kids be people first
Mhm, mhm,
and nurturing relationships amongst people
mhm,
and valuing that more highly than these are cast members and these are characters and we are fostering production value.
mhm.
It's not that production value doesn't matter. It does. And I don't know that we ever had a drama camp. Well, okay, I take that back. There were a couple of years where the close, I was like, wow, that one didn't work out quite the way I thought it was going to script wise. The story just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I don't think there was ever a time that the audience was sitting there going, oh, please, I can't believe I'm watching
Oh
this.
no, it was always every year
It was
wonderful.
fun.
Yeah,
It was fun.
yeah.
We always tried to focus on something that was going to have not a moral.
Mhm,
These were not morality plays. They were not youth group skits that were
mhm,
there to illustrate some principle,
mhm,
but they were formed by a theme that I hoped was going to be life affirming and character developing. And
mhm,
I would frequently pull a real life character in and use it somehow. So we had one year where we were dealing with uh, Corrie Ten Boom from The Hiding Place.
mhm.
We had another year where we were dealing with Mother Teresa of
Yeah,
Calcutta.
yeah.
And not always, and not necessarily big, heavy, intense the whole time. We tried to mix it up and have fun too. But to put people and characters in front of teens, people and characters that they not only learn about, but now they're getting to either pretend to be
Mm,
or pretend to interact with.
yeah.
We only had two characters who actually two actors who actually played Mother Teresa. We had one who played the younger version of her in
Mhm,
Act One and one who played the older in Act Two. But all of those other kids, they all interacted with Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Now, take a moment and read some articles online of people who, at one point or another in time, went and spent a few days
mhm.
alongside Mother Teresa of Calcutta and see whether that interaction with her had an impact on their lives,
Yeah.
you know? And so, in that pretend realm, as silly as that sounds, it's not silly at all. It
Mm.
has an impact on you.
Yeah, my that same appendicitis kid, as he was going through college and is now a teacher, he said one of the best things he got out of those drama experiences was to learn a deeper level of perspective taking and trying on hats himself. Like what
Mhm.
in this character's personality is something worth thinking about. And
Yeah.
it really was very formative for all the kids, but I remember him articulating that so often. So he uses that in his life, and especially in college, he would do a lot of his projects by video production with
Okay.
acting and all that. So he,
Mhm.
had a deeper level of, showing what he was learning. So
Yeah.
drama camp was just so like none of them grew up to be actors. That wasn't
Right.
the point.
Right. We didn't send anybody. Yeah.
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 The point was that experience and the growth and the just the formation in those kids. So
Mhm.
so Sabrina, let's do
Yes,
a
ma'am.
shameless plug.
Go
Do
for
we
it.
have anything to offer to help moms who want to do a drama camp?
We have a piece of curriculum at sevensistershomeschool.com in the speech and drama category that is called How to Direct a Homeschool Drama Camp.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. And it has a written component and a video
Mm,
component. And you get to see as a part of the talking head instruction on the video, you also have interspersed all sorts of footage from 1 year of rehearsals and production at a drama camp. And actually, the appendicitis kid was one of the video producers for that
mm.
project. He, along with one of my sons, did all of that. I remember appendicitis kid had really sore shoulders because he was holding the boom mic for
Yeah.
many hours across his shoulders, and that thing gets heavy and uncomfortable. But anyway, it was neat to see they were a little bit older then. They
Mm,
had younger siblings who were still in drama camp, and it was that was lovely too, to see that drama camp had meant enough to them that they were willing to put this time into helping us create a how-to resource for
Yes.
others.
Yeah.
So it's, I think it's $34.99, something like that. It's a ton of information. It is
Yeah.
practical and it's coming out of real life. This is not some cool idea that somebody had. Hey, I think that people could do this in their homeschool co-op or whatever. You know, I did this. I did this for 17 years, I think,
Yeah.
with maybe a year or two off here and there, but pretty much every summer we had kids who came to call this the week when life has meaning.
Oh, absolutely. That is what they called it. Yes. Yeah. The
It was
week
also
when
the
life has
hungriest
been-
week. It was the hungriest week of the year
Yeah.
too. They would pack lunches that got bigger and bigger. They're like, I'm so hungry when I'm here. I'm working so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do this. And for anyone who thinks that they would like to try this, but golly, they're just not sure because it sounds like a lot, please email me. I have had some lovely email conversations with people who were, with moms who were trying to decide if they felt brave enough to take it on and who wanted to ask specific questions. And I am quite available for that. Sabrina at sevensistershomeschool.com if you want to talk about drama camps.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So I think that's all the drama we have time for in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will put a link to Shelf Life. And I have to say, Shelf Life is one that I'm really proud of because we brought familiar characters all into the same space. So it's a library where characters from the books come to life and have to solve a problem together. And you have everything from classic literature. We had Jean Valjean from Les Miserables right alongside Winnie the Pooh. And it was a lot of fun. And the kids loved that one. I think they loved the script for that one more than they loved the script for some of the other ones, you know?
My youngest was in that one, and I remember how much fun he was having with that whole process. Yeah.
It was fabulous. So yeah, so if you're looking to see what could really be accomplished in 2 weeks with a group of kids who just jump into this on the first day and run with it, then yeah, check it out, Shelf Life. So yeah, that one's not even available in the store, but it could be if you wanted it to be. We could make that happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Don't be afraid of it. It's worth it, and it's not just fine arts. It's not just electives. It's not just extracurriculars. It is life skills. It's character building. It's relationship and social skill practice, and it's actually things that your kids will use the rest of their lives.
And it adds sparkle to the transcript.
It does indeed. And sparkle is always a good idea. So thank you for letting us inject a little sparkle and drama into your day as you've listened to this episode. And we hope that you will join us in the future for more episodes of the Homeschool High School Podcast from Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and brought to you by the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network.